Good morning, Water Group. Hope you guys are ready for a productive week. Congrats to Angela and Kathy, Claudia, Reginald, and Anaid on our top KDNA agents for this last week. Good job. And today we're going to go over the cost versus value because there's a few things in here that we've added. We've also made some refinements, so I want to emphasize those refinements. And also, we just finished our weekly management meeting today, and we talked about agent engagement in providing a great customer service to your clients. What are you doing to provide some great customer service? So we've added more things to our checklist and more things that you guys can follow for your own buyers and listings. And I want to remind you of some of these things that we're offering. So first, let's run through KDNA. Kathy, great job. Kathy had 86 contacts that she talked to last week and 600 marketing pieces that went out. So the marketing pieces that went out, I'd like to know what those are and what the call to action. Make sure that in all of your marketing pieces you have a call to action. The I have a buyer is probably the most effective and consistent marketing piece that we have, and that you'll want to really emphasize next month. And you may even want to have 2 of those I have a buyers go out in your geographic farm in March, because February and March is when people start thinking about the spring season and selling. So if you're marketing your buyers and they see that, keep in mind it takes 9 times for that or something to be in front of them before you have credibility. So in your geographic farm, how are you creating credibility with your prospective sellers? AdWorks is one campaign at $50 a month. It's adworks.com that you can create the I have a buyer template and put that on a campaign and run that in your geographic farm and have that feed directly to have a hyperlink on there to a home valuation. And that's something that we beta tested last year, and there were 2 to 5 of those registrations a day. So people definitely do respond to those, and it's a great way to build prospects that are way upstream. So they just may be getting their home valuation, but come March or April, then that's a good time to make sure that you're following up with those people to see if they've had any thoughts of selling or moving. And then also your loan officers in your geographic area. Are you guys talking to loan officers that are in the banks, whether it's Chase or Wells Fargo, some of these big branches, because the walk-in traffic that they have, that's pretty valuable walk-in traffic, people that are thinking about getting mortgage approval. Are you promoting on Facebook and promoting some of these loan programs? Now with the new FHA guidelines and the interest rates, what they are, there's a lot of, you guys need to educate people that are thinking about buying. So you can do that on Facebook. You can also do that in promoted posts in areas to where your targeted demographic of buyers are that are thinking about moving. So think about those things. How is it that you can create a call to action in all of your marketing? So keep that in mind for metric number 4 on your marketing pieces, because metric number 4 should drive inquiries. 1 to 3% response rate is typical for direct mail. Direct mail is very expensive, and that's why we have the partnership with Reunion Title and Service First and Prospect Mortgage to help us on some of these expenses. So let me know when you need help on that, and that's in our cost versus value, and we'll go through that. Claudia had 75 pieces out last week and spoke to 70 people. That's a good amount of contacts, Claudia. Good job. And also spent 13 hours previewing. Kathy spent 16 hours previewing. Kathy spends a lot of time just really driving the streets and looking at houses that are potential houses that may be not seeing their highest and best use. So that's something that you want to always think about in real estate, is in certain neighborhoods, whether it's commercial or retail or multifamily or single family, what is the highest and best use for this house? So a homogeneous neighborhoods and a home that is undervalued in a neighborhood that may be appreciating. There are certain areas that you guys are working in right now where there's a lot of appreciation. So some people are in older parts of Dallas. People are making lots of improvements, and they're making lots of upgrades to their houses, especially with the spring market. So you want to think about that. If there's someone that's not, then they may not be able to afford it. Maybe they need to be in a different area and they want to cash out their equity. Kathy actually referred a listing appointment to me last week for $1.4 million just a few blocks away, and that's how she got it. She just drove by the house and then called the person to find out if they thought about moving, and she used the Mike Ferry "I have a buyer" script. So very, very simple stuff, guys. And it was that was a $1.4 million pre-listing appointment. It'll be this spring before he's selling, but now's the time to be focusing on these things. So your hours previewing, also previewing competing listing inventory, and also previewing the for sale by owners. So that's where the Waller Group for Sale by Owner program is such a powerful tool. Keep in mind, I listed and closed 3 listings last year in March just as an experiment. I just did it to test our Waller Group for Sale by Owner program. So that for sale by owner program, open house program, is very effective. And get me involved. Ask me if you have questions on how to implement that. But get in the habit now, because you want to build your skills now in January and February. So that way, when there's a lot more volume, we'll see probably, if you look at the for sale by owners now in your area, you'll see 5 times as many for sale by owners in your area. In this, when I say area, not your geographic farm, but maybe the entire city. So you'll probably want to do for sale by owners in your area. I'm referring to about a 10-minute drive from where you live or from where you office. So keep that in mind, because you've got to broaden your geographic radius on your for sale by owners in order to have enough to where you get practice, to where you get good at that. And keep in mind, the attitude with for sale by owners is, what can I do to provide value? What can I do to help these people? What can I do to help them get their home sold? And if that's the attitude that you have, then the listing will come back to you. You will get not just the listing, but you may also get referrals. There may be, keep in mind, for sale by owners, a lot of times are move-up buyers, and they also have a lot of qualified buyers walking through those properties. So they're great advocates for you. If you have them in your corner, and if you're not just another realtor looking for the listing, and if you're actually really helping them and providing them value and tools, then they will refer you buyers, and they will refer you other business and possibly their own listing. So keep that in mind with these for sale by owners and the Waller Group for Sale by Owner open house program. Very, very good tool. And then moving on to metric number 8, new prospects. Looks like Tammy had 24 new prospects last week. Great job, Tammy. And Corey had 11 new prospects last week. So Corey and Tammy and Sarah Jones had 12 new prospects last week. Guys, that's fantastic. And Kathy had 61 new prospects, and Barbara had 17 new prospects. So guys, you should be you should be exceeding your gross commission income goal this year. Those are a lot of new prospects. So qualifying those prospects is going to be extremely important. And I would be curious if those are buyer prospects or listing prospects. And are these just additions to your database, or are these buyer or seller prospects? So that's important. And then number 9, buyer appointments held. So it looks like Kathy Crow, 5 buyer appointments. Great job, Claudia, 4 buyer appointments. Barbara had 6 buyer appointments. That's fantastic. So Barbara, on those buyer appointments, how many of those had buyer rep agreements? It looks like you had 6 new buyer rep agreements last week. That's fantastic. 6 new buyer rep agreements. Generally, most agents, even highly productive agents, 5 A buyers is about the most that you can usually handle at a time. So make sure you're categorizing your buyers, A, B, or C. A buyers are ready, willing, able. They're, as soon as you identify a property or they find a property, then you've got to be there to write that offer. And B buyers are buyers that are within, they have something that their motivation may not be as high as an A buyer, and they may have an objection. A wife is out of town or something like that. A C buyer is someone that may be in a lease, or it's a long-term where there's a certain time period, or maybe qualification. They don't have their financing and approval yet. So keep in mind, you're always categorizing your A, B, and C buyers. When you guys are writing that many buyer rep agreements a week, and you're getting that many new prospects a week, you've got to make sure that you're focused on those top 5 A buyers, or top 5 A sellers. And the number of pre-listing appointments. So Kathy had 7 pre-listing appointments. Great job. Claudia, 5 pre-listing appointments. Great job. Angela, 3. Good job. Sarah Jones, 2. And Nina had a pre-listing appointment as well. Number of listing appointments held. Kathy had 6 listing appointments held. That's fantastic. And Claudia had 5 listing appointments held. And Angela had 3. And Anna Eid, 1. And Nina had 2. So Nina had more listing appointments held than pre-listing appointments. So usually we see almost double the number of pre-listing appointments as listing appointments, because you're qualifying these listing appointments. So make sure you're following the Waller Group seller appointment form. That Waller Group seller appointment form is basically the Mike Ferry listing qualification script. So if you ask those questions, then you will be able to, you'll be much sharper on your listing presentation, and you can isolate their objections. If you can't isolate objections before you attend that listing appointment, then your probability of taking that listing goes down significantly. That's if you're competing for it. That's if it's a for sale by owner or an expired, or if it's a personal referral, you can go through the 1-minute Mike Ferry listing presentation. You could probably do fine. But when you are prospecting for listings, and if you're generating these, and these are not people that are personal referrals, then that Waller Group seller appointment form is critical to follow. Number of listings taken, number 13. Kathy took 3 listings, great job. Claudia took 4 listings, wow. Angela took a listing, and so did Reginald. And Anaid took a listing, and Frederick, Nina took 2 listings. Great job, Nina. And Nina also opened 2 sales. Busy week for Nina. I see Nina in the office a lot. I saw her in here a lot last week. So usually when I see you guys in the office, usually you're writing business and you're being productive. So that's great. Good job, Nina. And then it looks like Jill also opened a sale. Rose and Jesse opened a sale. And so did Wes, and so did Tammy and Angela, and Barbara opened 2 sales last week. Put 2 properties in escrow, and Claudia put 3 properties in escrow. Wow. And Kathy put 3 properties in escrow. So great job on that. Tomorrow we will go over, I think it's tomorrow, we have our mandatory referral network training, and then also the listing presentation, the Zillow presentation. So keep that in mind, Zillow and our referral network mandatory training tomorrow. These leads that we send you guys, whether it's our leads or whether it's your own leads, the process that you follow on managing your online leads and managing buyer inquiries or sign calls needs to be the same all the way around. So even if it's not that, even if you don't even take our referrals, if you're not on our referral network, I would still highly encourage you to attend tomorrow's meetings, because you'll learn about Zillow, and Zillow being number 1, if not definitely in the top 5 lead generation, online lead generation tools and media sites. Then it's always good to stay up on what Homes.com, Zillow, Trulia, and Realtor.com are doing, because they're always making changes. And those have taken the places of the newspaper here in the last 15 years. And the online media companies, they're becoming bigger than ever. Okay, so Waller Group cost versus value. These are things I know we don't have very much time. I just want to go through these things and make sure that you understand. So on the training, we value this at $15 to $50 per hour. We have a lot of online training in the modules, and then also Richard and myself. the online and live classroom training, Mike Ferry, Tom Ferry, and archives. So we have usernames and passwords for the Mike Ferry and the Tom Ferry, and then we have, of course, all of our archives and Google and now on Back Agent. So make sure that you use those. If you see anything that needs to be updated, some of these things I've spent years on. Some of them are I've written 4 years ago. Some of it just as recently as a few weeks ago. So if you see something that needs freshening up or you think it needs updated, you won't hurt my feelings at all. Please let me know about it, because sometimes I forget or I don't see it. So I appreciate you bringing those things to my attention. Mike Ferry coaching, that is a cost to us at $1,000 a month. But keep in mind, we don't. As long as you're in coaching, then we don't charge you monthly dues. Waller Group, team, and conversion leads. So those are charge referral fees, but those cost us per lead. So Realtor.com being the most expensive, and the others tier down from that. Access to Waller Group referral network, and then affinity, relocation, employee benefit referrals, coaching, consulting, the KDNA, Monday morning streaming broadcast, the tools and resources. Okay, this is where I want to make sure that you guys are clear. Number one, on our transaction coordinating and on our escrow coordinating. This is a point that's extremely important. I want to make sure everyone understands is that the fundamentals, the Mike Ferry coaching, are the best in the business. Century 21, Coldwell Banker, most of the large brokerages will all acknowledge. I had a meeting with the broker at Ebby Holiday, Betty Misko, last week, and I was talking with several people at Ebby Corporate about lead generation and about management and about coaching that they prescribe to. And we were talking about Tom Ferry and Mike Ferry, and everyone agrees pretty much that Mike Ferry is the godfather. The fundamentals are very, very important. The problem is that there's a big disconnect between the fundamentals and today's tools. So here at Waller Group, we want to bridge that disconnect to where you guys have the clear understanding of the Mike Ferry sales system and the Mike Ferry fundamentals, but you also have today and tomorrow's tools and technology and resources to bridge those gaps. Now keep in mind, this is an extremely important point. 70% of your business should be spent on business development, lead generation. So that's business development, and as Mike Ferry would say, listing lead generation, listing business development. Those would be Mike's words. 70% of your time. Well, we know that realtors have ups and downs in their income because they spend 90% of their time on listing business development, and then they're trying to close deals, and then so it's a constant battle back and forth. Our goal is, like I said, to bridge that gap. We do that. We now have really refined, and Erica's done a great job of improving our tools and our processes around the transaction management, around transaction coordination, around the listing, facilitating that listing marketing plan, and also your escrow plan. So take advantage of that. Also, keep in mind that it's my goal and it's our goal here at the Waller Group to make sure that we're bridging that gap so that way you guys can spend 70% of your time on listing business development. We have the seller's guide, we have the marketing plan in place, the tools, the technology, my experience as a listing agent to go with you on these listings. We have everything that there is that's required to bridge that gap, but you guys are the ones that have to spend 70% of your time on listing business development. Otherwise, that gross commission income goal is just a dream. We won't be able to bridge the gap with reality. So that's our goal here, is to bridge the gap between your goal and the reality of day-to-day business. And that is done through following and utilizing the tools that we have for you guys in the cost versus value. And a lot of that is in the transaction coordination and on the listing marketing plan and listing coordination. And guys, I lose money on that. For me to pay Erica's salary and the time that it takes her to properly facilitate your marketing plan and the coordination, it's a lot more than $175 on the buyer side and $175 on the listing side. So we charge $350 for both sides. That is much less than any other brokerage that I know of, and it's a huge bargain to do it right. You know, there's other companies out there that will charge less to do much less, but this is utilizing our marketing platform and utilizing the tools and the services that we have on here. So I would highly encourage you to take advantage of that and to use those things. Out of all these things, is probably the easiest way to take advantage of the tools on here, because anything with the little magic wand, then those are things that will be facilitated by the transaction coordinator. So preparing the just listed, the just sold cards, the printing and the copying, the luxury property graphics or your property graphics, the flyer campaigns on eCampaign Pro, the AdWorks geofarming campaign. So a lot of these things that I don't know if you're doing or not on your listings and in your geographic farms, but this will professional photography, moving boxes delivered to the client, the listing MLS data entry, the listing and buyer escrow facilitation. So that's the fee, $175 for closing for all of those things. So the other things that are on here that are probably the List Hub weekly seller activity reports. You know, I pay a lot of money each month, so that way you guys can send those to your sellers. It's very, very informative because it shows where the weekly hits are on what websites. So that's just one of the many, many things on here that we've built over the last couple of years to make sure that your sellers are getting by far better exposure and more exposure on their properties and better service than any of the competition. And then also, you know, there's also some listing lead generation tools. The Benutech divorce and probate listing leads is something that I don't know how many of you guys are using, but it's very powerful. The Mojo Power Dialer software is very powerful. The drip and follow-up campaigns on conversion. Keep in mind to customize those campaigns. Some of the pre-templated campaigns on conversion, I think are a little bit unprofessional. So make sure that you're customizing those and tweaking those to what your buyers and sellers want. So, or would be most appropriate for your demographic. The seller's guide, make sure that you always have a seller's guide with you, because that explains a lot of the things that are in here for our sellers. So that seller's guide is, and Jeremy can have those bound for you, and just whenever you want to pick them up as needed. So with that being said, you guys have a very productive and a fantastic week. And Brian is here. I want to thank Brian for coming. And you have a couple announcements?
Yeah, something real quick, okay. Which is outstanding. Hey guys, welcome back again. Of course, we all know about the changes to Fannie Mae going to 3%. So now we can do 3% down on the Fannie Mae rule, just a reminder there. And then also FHA just reduced their monthly mortgage insurance premium. So by 0.5 bips. So if you're at 1.3%, it went down to 0.8%. As a numbers, that's going to reduce a monthly mortgage payment by about $50 a month on a $130,000 loan amount, which we know can be make or break the deal. So adds value, you know, time to buy is now, programs are changing, you know, just some great things, and give me a shout if we can help out with you.
Great, thank you. And good, I get good feedback on Brian a lot, so I appreciate that, and thanks for that update. Okay guys, have a productive week and go make some money. Talk to you next week, or hopefully see you in the Training Zillow and Referral Network meeting.